This Mirage build does insane damage in PvP right now and is very fun to play. If you want to know more about this build, be sure to watch the whole video to not miss out a thing. As always, special shout out to all my supporters on YouTube, Twitch and Patreon that help me keep the lights on. And now without much further ado, let's jump straight into this amazing build. At the start, I have to give a big disclaimer. This build is challenging. It's not playing itself. You have to actually be aware how to play, and even if you know how this build works, it doesn't mean you will perform perfectly on it. It's actually quite challenging. But the damage potential is insane and is used in the highest level gameplay right now. It's really, really good. So with that much said, let's start with the gear. So for gear, you want to run Berserker Amulet with Fireworks Relic for the most amount of damage and Infiltration Rune. There are other setups. You could go for different rune, even a different relic works. Just use the one that is the best for your playstyle. I think Fireworks suits this build perfectly because you have an amazing amount of burst potential and damage. And of course, full aggressiveness with Berserk and Infiltration works the best. For weapons, I would go Spear, Sword, Shield. It's quite like above all others, I would say, on this build particular. But again, you could switch and match what is your playstyle. This is just a build that I would recommend and high-level players play as well. For sigils, I would go Cleansing Energy. It's just the best option because this build lacks a little bit defenses, let's say. And having some defensive sigils there helps a lot. But on the Spear, you could actually, if you wanted to, because Spear is your aggressive weapon set, could put on some aggressive sigils as well. I like to go for Cleansing on this build especially because you don't have that many cleanses and energy is always really good on a Mirage. Before I go to the trades, I want to mention, if you like this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. So for the trades, you want to run Illusions, Dueling, and Mirage. Previously, there was a build with Domination. It's still playable, it's still very good. Just Power Block got changed. That means now it's not as broken anymore. And therefore, I would say it is highly dependent on your playstyle. I think the Illusions and Dueling variant is actually very good now with the damage output. So let's start with talking about Illusions. Illusions gives your shatters recharge reduction and you get just some passive damage increase. That's nice. Your F1 will now be an Emulation skill, so that means you can use it 2 times. That's really, really strong, of course, as well. And Phantasms spawn with Quickness, and you gain 1 second of Quickness. That your Phantasms spawn with Quickness is really good because, especially on the Spear Phantasm, it makes it really hard to dodge the attack of those because they are faster and you get some quickness as well. So that means your attacks after that are faster as well. It's not that long, but it can actually be crazy in your burst combo. Keep that in mind. And lastly, you have Master of Fragmentation. Just amazing trade. Distortion Reflects now. Diversion has 5 targets now. And Crippling on the F2 can even help, but typically the Mind Frag is also very, very important for the 25% crit chance increase. That means it will always crit. Then Dueling, you take this trade line because it actually provides a lot of value because you get Vigor on a critical hit, so 30% Vigor uptime, quite nice. Mirage gets a lot of value from Vigor. Then you get Fury passively. It's surprisingly high amount of uptime if you don't get corrupted. And Fury is really good, of course, 20% more crit chance. Together with this trade, your Mind Frag will always crit. Then Mental Gymnastics, just even more Vigor uptime. Like I said, Vigor is really important on Mirage, not only because you can dodge more often, but also because it gives you damage multipliers. Then you take Fencer's Finesse, just for more damage, because you're running Sword, gives you more ferocity, and the recharge of your Sword is reduced. Not the Spear, just Underwater Spear, but the Sword helps as well, for example, for the dodge on the 2 skill. Then we have Deceptive Evasion. This trade is, I would say, one of the main reasons why you want this trade line, because it now creates a clone at your position when you dodge. This at first glance doesn't sound like insane, but because of the clone generation of this build, especially with the ambush of your sword as well, you have insane amount of clone generation, and that means you can shatter like crazy with 2 or 3 clones. We get to it, why this is so important on this build in a second. But let's first talk about Mirage. Mirage gets access when you dodge to your ambush skill. So you can dodge while you cast other stuff, and you then get access to your ambush skill. Your ambush skill on sword is amazing. It's really, really good. We will talk about the skills in a second, but in general, ambush is really, really good to use as well. Then Self-Deception. Whenever you use a deception skill, while you have 1 clone active already, you get another one. This is really, really strong because you have at least 2 deceptions in this build, and really, really good, especially with Jaunt for a burst combo because it instant casts. Then here you get 10% increased damage while you have Vigor. That's just amazing, and you have a lot of Vigor uptime, so really, really strong. Then you get a damage increase when you use Shatter skill, increasing per clone shattered. Maximum stacks 4, and this lasts for 10 seconds. and per stack 3% more damage. So you can actually shatter and get a lot of those stacks, and now you have 4 stacks, that means 12% more damage. It's insane. Together with Vigor, you get so much damage multipliers on this build, it's actually crazy. And then Dune Cloak. This is why it's actually now insane. This is really the thing why this build is like crazy right now, because Dune Cloak got buffed. Before it was like, when you shatter with 2 or more clones, you get Mirage Cloak. That's obviously really good, because that lets you evade, and you can use an ambush skill. So really good in an offensive and defensive way. But now it got buffed, because when you get Mirage Cloaks, then always recharge your Mind Stack and Cry of Frustration. So you have 1 and you have 2 by 1.5 seconds. That doesn't seem like that much, but you get Mirage Cloaks so consistently, because you can shatter with 2 or 3 clones so consistently, and you can dodge. That means that you get it so consistently that you can spam your shatters, especially the damaging shatters, of course, F1 and F2, so frequently, it's insane. That's why this trait, Deceptive Evasion, comes in so clutch, because you always want to shatter with 2 or 3 clones. Now let's talk about the skills. So for the skills I already teased, Mirage Thrust is amazing. It's a leap finisher. It's a really nice range just to reposition, and is a daze and creates a clone. It's just really overloaded. Best ambush by far. Then you have Blood Frenzy. It's some nice damage, but roots you in Blaze and is some 1 second evade. That's probably the most important reason why you take this. And then you have Illusionary Leap and Swap. Swap is amazing if you can set it up, because it's a 2 second immobilize. So you create a clone at the position, swap with the clone, and then you get the immobilize on the target. Really, really good. For example, you can then use the Tides of Time for a stun after that. This has a lot of utility in the kit, and then of course you have the block on your, or the double block on your shield 4, so really strong as well. Like I already mentioned, Distortion is amazing, not only reflects, but also makes you invulnerable, and is just really strong as your defensive tool. It's the main defensive tool of this build. And then you have Diversion, just for some nice CC. Then you have Cry of Frustration, mostly used for that you shatter and get the Mirage Cloak with 2 or 3 of clones up, but it's also useful for the cripple, I would say, and it does surprising amount of damage as well. And then of course you have 1 crazy amount of damage, and gives you also more recharge on your shatters if you shatter with 2 or 3. Then you have your Spear, that's your main damaging skill, whereas the Sword Shield is more the utility defensive set. The Spear auto attack is surprisingly good, also the Ambush does a lot of damage. And 2 skill is really strong because it does a lot of damage, and if you hit it with the Outer Edge, you get a Clarity, which empowers the next Spear skill that is not the auto attack. And the Outer Edge will also guarantee to be crit. So it's a really, really powerful skill that you can use in a lot of cleave and just in a lot of damaging scenarios. The Empowered of this Mind the Gap skill is actually just giving you might, so typically you don't want to empower it. You also don't want to empower the 3 skill. You get just some healings, do some nice damage, and evade and cleanse conditions, but the only thing that gets empowered is the healing, which is not too good, so I would rather empower the 4 or the 5. Why is that? Because the 4 creates a Phantasm that will remove some wounds, give you swiftness when you dash through, and also if it hits a crippled target, it will also immobilize the target. If you have this skill now empowered with your Clarity buff from the 2, it creates 2 Phantasms. That means both of them cast the skill that cripples them, and if they are already crippled, it immobilizes them. So that means that you cripple and immobilize them if it's empowered and if it hits. The 5 skill is really good because it resets your 2 skill, and if it's empowered, it will stun the enemy for 2 seconds. This is really, really strong because it already does damage, but if you use the 2 skill into the 5 skill, you will get the damage. If you get the Clarity buff, you will also get the stun on the target. Reset your 2 skill, can use the 2 again, and use the 2 with the Phantasmal Lances so that you get 2 Phantasms up, and they will both hit because of the quickness and the stun. It's really, really, really powerful. This is the main combo of this weapon set. For your utility and elite skill, I already teased. Of course, you want to use Blink, best skill in the game for Mesmer, especially because of the stun break. Nice repositioning tool, it's really, really strong. Then you have Signet of Illusions. This is like a utility slot. You can swap in whatever you want. This got nerfed a while back. Now it's 35 seconds cooldown and recharges all your shatter skills. You take it for the active typically. And it will recharge it only by 50%. So that means that if you use the Distortion and use the Signet, you will only get a 20 seconds back or 21 seconds. So I would say still worth taking, but way less good than before. And then you take Mirage Advance and Mirage Retreat. So you will Shadow Step to the enemy that you have targeted, will blind it, damage and daze it, and you can return to your starting position. It's a really nice engage tool, really aggressive. You can swap that, but I think the Deception skill with the, if you have already 1 clone up, can be really, really strong here. What would you swap the Signet of Illusions or the Mirage Advance for? You could go for Mirror Images, really, really strong, but really aggressive as well. You could even go still for Mantra of Distraction if you wanted to. Some people even play with Mantra of Pain. There are many options that you could go for here. I think this setup is the most versatile one. And then you have, of course, Jaunt. It's a nice Condic Lens. It's a 30-second recharge, but it has 2 charges, so you can use it if you already have one clone to generate another one, or if you want to get a Condic Lens or just a reposition. Short teleport can help a lot. For example, to port up on a higher level or something could also just be very clutch. And of course, if you want to combo that with all your skills to actually hit the Mind the Gap or, for example, hit the Tides of Time, whatever, you can teleport it to set it up, of course. Of course, you take for the healing skill Signet of Ether if you want to reset your Phantasms by 50%, it is a potent heal. But you could also take Ether Feast for a Condic Lens or even False Oasis for another mirror after a while. All of them are definitely potent. It depends a bit on your playstyle. I like to play with Signet of Ether for the Illusions reset. Let's talk quick about the combos. I already explained the main combo of Spear, but you can also, like I said, use the swap to set it up. For example, Tides of Time, get and Mind the Gap after that if you weapon swap. You can, of course, use your Mirage's Aunt, engage. But one of the main combos that I want to mention here is, of course, creating 2 clones to get the Dune Cloak and then shattering whatever shatter skill you use and getting the ambush. And that's really important because getting the ambush is one aggressive tool to engage, deal damage with your Mirage Blast or the Fractured Glass. But it also makes you invulnerable, so to say, because you're evading because of the Mirage Cloak. And that means you can actually just spam your other skills without being denied for the most part. It's really, really strong to have that as a defensive tool in an offensive way. I hope that makes sense. So if you get the Mirage Cloak, you can deal more damage without caring too much about what is happening around you while you have the evade up. This is insane. This is why the Mirage Cloak is such a good offensive and defensive trait. Also keep in mind you can shatter your 2 clones to get a Mirage Cloak, use the Mirage Thrust after that to reposition very well as well. So repositioning is really easy on this build. You just have to be careful because you're extremely squishy. Now let's take a look at the gameplay section here. This is a commentary of a match that I played a while ago with this build. I don't play particularly great in this build with this build yet, but I play decently well and you can clearly see the potential of this. This is not really the best showcase for this build. Keep that in mind. If you want to see crazy good people playing that, watch Caspi's stream, watch even Drace's stream, Helio, all of those really good PvP players play this build right now. It's really strong. But keep in mind, I just want to show the potential and how you play this build. That's why I give you the gameplay of this build here and try to commentate here. I focus more on the gameplay than on the rotation than in my usual commentary. You engage with the Mirage Thrust, get an easy kill on the Mirage, just try to cleave it down, get the combos. And there are a lot of enemies here and my allied team is dying, so I get the kill, but I have to disengage crazily and I don't get the full reset. I try to be really like fast and reset, but I still don't cleanse all the condis and die. But for whatever reason, my engineer, I think, gets some res here. Yeah, weird, but we get it. Now we can re-engage. And just you can see spamming Mirage Ambush is insane. You get so much repositioning tools, get a crazy amount of shatter combo. Like, I would say, sadly, we get some rally here again. Our teammate dies, no rally, I would say. But then, there we get the rally, okay. So my team is really bad, but that's okay. We just want to showcase the damage potential of this build. Here again, I have to disengage. My team is like completely dying. I check if it's salvageable and I see, no, it's not. I have to disengage. You can see dodging, and just using my invulnerability to make sure that the Mesmer is not free casting on me. And here I have to re-engage just because it's possible. I get sadly not enough damage down and I die here. Let's skip a little bit ahead. So after the respawn, we see again my team is dying at mid. I just decide to go far. This is really fast, this build. You can move so fast. I would always recommend you to shatter the F1 or the F2 when you are not in combat to get some vigor, to get some things back. And now we are against the Mirage again. This time we have a fairer 101, I would say. Get some crazy burst, but the enemy Mirage is also evading, of course, a lot. So it's a really volatile matchup. We get the kill after, maybe? No, that was a nasty interrupt, I have to be honest. A lot of damage. Now we get the kill, that's good. That didn't play that well, but now we get an enemy again. I try to get the kill. I actually get the kill, but here I can't disengage in time because it's a Condi Core Necro. I don't have a chance against that one. And to survive against that when I'm already quite pressured, I die again. At least I got a kill out of that. Let's skip ahead a bit. So here we came back out of the spawn again after the respawn. Like I said, I didn't play that perfectly, just want to showcase this build and give some commentary. We have a lot of people here. I see the thief, want to engage on the thief. The thief is sadly dodging too much. So I wasted my blink for that, but that's okay. Let's now try to carry the team fight here. Again, the Mirage, I know it's very squishy. Target the Mirage, get someone in the cleave. That's good. Get the Mirage as well. Crazy amounts of burst damage, as you can see. 2 people insta-dead. And the Berserker is soon to follow. Now we got it. We get the decap. We also got the core necro. And I get the decap here, and then I decide to go too far because I'm really fast. Shatter my 3 clones to actually get the Mirage cloak again. Shatter my 2 clones, get the Mirage cloak again. You can see how fast this build is. I'm just jumping around like crazy with the spear and sword ambush, for instance. It's insane. Then I get the decap here. And sadly, I think the match is almost over. Only 30 points of the enemy team, so I'm not sure if we can win this. But we get a 1-on-1 against, again, the Mirage. Here I try to port on him, but he waits in the last second. I get engaged. I know this guy is quite squishy and instantly get the burst. Now I'm against the warrior as well. That's a little bit of a tough matchup because it's a spear warrior. It also has quite decent range and very high CC amount. That can be really dangerous on this build. And I try to burst it. Nice. Sadly, this guy gets the healing skill off, so we are a little bit in trouble. I have to disengage, using Tron for that. Use my healing skill to better be safe. Use my evades, engage, get the teleport, get the stun. Another in your pain, that's the sad part, but I get the burst combo again. And here the warrior is like trolling and not moving that much. Sadly, I have to disengage again because the Mirage is on respawn. And I try to engage on the Mirage. The warrior is still here, but I think I can actually kill both of them because they are quite low. And the warrior is blocking. Has the healing skill up again. That's a little bit sad. And I die here, but the match is over sadly anyway, because my team didn't get the decap. Close, but you could see the potential of this build. It's actually really, really good. Like I said, not the best gameplay, but definitely clearly visible how broken this build is. So be sure to give it a try. Don't expect to be master at the build in the beginning, but you will learn it and then it's immensely fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks again to all my supporters, and I hope to see you all in the next video.